right. Hello, everyone. Let's give a quick introduction to ourselves as this is our first show. I'll go ahead and start. My name is Megan. I am a junior at Florida Atlantic University. I am majoring in multimedia studies with a concentration in journalism, where I recently rekindled my passion for writing. It's exciting. I'm lucky enough to be a newsroom writer at the Boca Raton Tribune right now. And we're going to give a little fun fact, kind of favorite movie about ourselves. My favorite movie right now is Jurassic Park.
Hi, I'm Dina. I'm a sophomore at FAU, and I'm majoring in political science as well as multimedia studies. And I also am a newsroom writer at the Boca Tribune, and my favorite movie is Sorry to Bother You.
Good one. All right, well, welcome to the first ever screen review. Essentially here, Dina and I are just going to break down our favorite TV shows, movies, everything we've been binge watching over quarantine, essentially. We're going to focus primarily on Netflix, but we'll touch on Hulu, Disney Plus, any other streaming services. We'll let you know when we do so, of course. We go live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And today's topic, we're going to take a look at our favorite children and family movies on Netflix right now. I will go ahead and mention that this is not a spoiler-free review. We're going to take in further episodes an in-depth look at the movies and TV shows we are discussing, as well as touching on important symbolism and themes throughout them. But for right now, we'll just highlight some of our favorite movies for you and your kids to watch now.
So to start off, we're going to start with The Croods, which came out in 2013. Basically, this movie follows a family of cavemen who live in a time where like all of their neighbors were dying. It was near the end of the caveman era, I guess you could say. So the father, his name is Grug, turns really paranoid because all their neighbors were dying, and he keeps his family in their cave all day, and he never wants to leave. He wants his family to be safe. And one day, a more evolved caveman arrives, and he knows how to make and control fire, and everyone kind of freaks out. The family freaks out, and the man doesn't really trust him, like the father, Grug. So he kind of he doesn't like this guy. He doesn't trust him, and especially around his rebellious daughter. Grug doesn't like him around his rebellious teenage daughter. So this more evolved caveman kind of takes them on a journey to savior, I guess you could say, and the impending danger on their world. The themes this family kind of follows is a lot of family and trust. It's kind of shows how at first the father, Grug, does not trust his teenage daughter. She's rebellious. She hates that her family stays home all day in this cave. And so when they meet this new, more evolved caveman, she's like, oh my gosh, this new world. But throughout the movie, the father starts to trust his daughter more. He understands his family more. He realizes his family, they're all equals and they're not just his children and his wife, you know? So I think the movie is really fun, and it, again, shows the concept of family, and it's really good for the whole family, not just the kids. Like, I enjoyed it myself, so yeah.
Yeah, it is really worth the watch. I mean, I will also note it came out in 2013, and the graphics are absolutely beautiful, being that it came out,
Right.
7 years ago now? It's hard to believe it's 2020 sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So the next movie
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about would be Stuart Little. It came out in 1999. It's a real fun time for the whole family, honestly. It did not get, it's just amazing. It's a kind of a quirky concept of a movie. It's about a human family. They're the Littles, and they are planning to adopt a new child. So they go to this orphanage, and they're looking around, and they meet a tiny mouse, and they decide to adopt him. And so they bring him home, and the son that they have at home already is not exactly taking well to the fact that their family just adopted a mouse. So there's a little bit of conflict there. Eventually they get past it, except for the house cat that they have named Snowbell. Snowbell absolutely hates Stuart Little, and so that's one of the major themes throughout the entire movie, would be kind of Stuart trying to fit into the family when the cat hates him and is plotting with the other alley cats to get rid of him. But by the end of the movie, as I'm sure you can guess with any children or family movie, everything is resolved, and the family realizes that Stuart is someone that they needed in their family and their life. It just touches, again, I mean, I'm sure all these movies will touch on very similar themes of family, acceptance, belonging. It's a fun, quirky little movie to enjoy. I like it.
For sure. I think one of my biggest memories from Stuart Little when I was younger is like it kind of gave me a fear of cats, if I'm completely honest. Like it really made me scared when I was younger.
No, yeah, I
But yeah.
agree. Yeah, like it really make the cats look kind of evil in that one.
Yeah, it was so scary. Speaking of cats, our next movie is The Cat in the Hat. It's the live action take on like the classic Dr. Seuss book. It's basically just the two siblings, Sally and her brother Conrad, who on their mother's day at work, they are home alone. And out of nowhere comes this like mischievous, like crazy kind of wild card cat. And he's like a troublemaker and everything. And honestly, like this movie is like so good. Like I can say that to this day. It came out in 2003, and I just think it's like such a funny movie. The thing is the cat is played by Mike Myers, and like he's so funny in the whole movie, and like he gives like off these jokes that are so not for kids, but they go over the kids' heads like so quickly that like you don't even realize. And it's just like it's so funny. And like when you get older, when I was younger, I did not understand half the jokes in that movie, but I still enjoyed the movie. And then I got older and I understood all the jokes, and it's a really good movie for the whole family for sure.
Yeah, it's really cute. I like how they kind of added more characters and more things just to the classic Dr. Seuss book. I mean, it's just a light, cheerful, happy movie. I like it.
Yeah, and the colors in it are just like so cute. Like I love it.
Yeah, they did a really nice job with it, actually. All
Mhm.
right, so we're kind of switching gears a little bit. We're going to talk about my next recommendation movie. That's going to be the Pokemon movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Essentially what this is, it's the remastering of the first Pokemon movie. It's just done in CG graphics. So it's remastered a little bit better. The graphics are higher quality. It's just higher quality, I would say. It's available on Netflix. Essentially what it follows is the leader of Team Rocket, which is a villain organization in the movie. His name is Giovanni. He wants to create kind of a weaponized clone from another legendary Pokemon. And once this kind of clone becomes conscious, he discovers he doesn't want to be used as a weapon, and he flees off to an island to kind of seek revenge on the people that created him. And after that happens, he invites unsuspecting the protagonists, Ash, Misty, and Brock, to this island to come meet the greatest Pokemon trainer in the world, which of course is all of their goals pretty much. So they travel there, and Mewtwo reveals himself to be not the legendary Pokemon trainer, and actually a Pokemon himself, where he takes all their Pokemon and makes clones of them. And it is honestly an emotional roller coaster, this movie. I would say it is just a masterpiece. I have nothing bad to say about it, honestly. I would say a lot of the common critiques of this movie, though, would be that the kind of characters' voices did not match up to the way that their characters looked. That was a common critique that I saw of it. I am a huge Pokemon nerd. I will never speak a bad word about it. I think it is absolutely worth it. If your child loves Pokemon, they will hands down adore this movie.
Yeah, I for sure liked Pokemon when I was younger, so I could
me too.
attest to that. Yeah. So next, also kind of like on the theme of like action movies, I guess, we have The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which was personally for me like one of my favorites when I was younger. So basically this movie follows a young boy named Max, and he's like severely bullied by the kids around him in his school, and he kind of creates this like his own fantasy world, I guess you could say, and he creates the characters Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And he makes their lives action packed. He gives them this like classic hero sob story kind of thing, you know, like parents dying and stuff. And one day, Max's characters come to life, and they need a hero to save their planet named Planet Drool. And this hero obviously ends up becoming Max. And basically the themes of this movie is like him battling his troubles. Like the bullies in his real life end up becoming the villains of this fantasy world. And it's just like such a cute movie to see like this boy Max just like overcame his bullies, and he started to stand up for himself like after he left the fantasy world. And it's just so cute, and it follows the basic like movie trope of like a hero's journey where like an average kid kind of is given these powers of whatever, because in the whole movie, since Planet Drool is his planet that he created, everything he dreams comes to life. And so it makes like him feel like the main character and not like this kid who's always bullied. So I personally just really like that movie. Yeah.
That's definitely a good one. I would recommend that one as well. The next movie I will talk about would be Chicken Little. It came out in 2005 and just an adorable movie. So I'm sure everyone has heard Chicken Little says the sky is falling, but no one believes him. So a piece of the sky fell off and hit Chicken Little in the head, and he tells the whole town. He freaks out. He makes a huge deal about it. Nobody believes him. He's kind of brushed off by the entire town. A year later, he's still being made fun of for this. And so he tries to get his dad to accept him by joining the baseball team at school. He helps them win a match, and his dad's kind of beginning to accept him again instead of just being Chicken Little who thinks the sky is falling. And then later that night after the baseball game, the sky is falling again, and it comes into his room. Long story short, the town is under attack by aliens, and Chicken Little and his friends are the only ones who know. So they have to try to get the little orange alien that the aliens brought with them, and they accidentally forgot him. They have to try to get their child alien back to the UFO that came. Eventually, the whole town ends up believing him. So it's just kind of a fun little movie. You know, I like the songs in that movie as well. I think they have a really solid, strong soundtrack, I would say.
Yeah, there's this one scene that like I'll forever remember. It's like ingrained in my life. When they're like doing karaoke and they're singing that Spice Girls song, like tell me what is it, like tell me what you want, what you really want.
Yeah.
Like that is like forever ingrained in my mind. That was like, I don't know, it's just I love that movie too when I was younger, like the aliens. So the next movie we have is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which came out in 2018. And I could 100% say is like one of my favorite cartoon movies of all time. Like it's so good. Basically, it follows, as we all know, the story Spider-Man. There were like 3 remakes of the same story, but it's a little different. It's based off of a different Spider-Man in a different universe, who's Miles Morales. And it's based on the comics. There's comics about it too. And basically it shows Miles Morales as he travels through the multiverse of superheroes. And he learns his his powers as Spider-Man. And the thing about this movie is like you learn that there are different Spider-Men in different Spider-Women, Spider-People in different universes called the Spider-Verse. And basically through the story, he needs a mentor because he gets these new powers. He doesn't know what to do with them. And his mentor ends up being the Peter Parker, the one that we see all these Spider-Man remakes about, the real Spider-Man. Peter Parker, and he finds him from a different dimension. But this Peter Parker is kind of retired. He broke up with his girlfriend. He's out of shape. He hasn't been Spider-Man in years, but he still kind of uses him as Miles Morales still uses this Peter Parker as his mentor to become a Spider-Man. And obviously through this movie, they have that trope in every single Spider-Man movie: with great power comes great responsibility. So this older Spider-Man, Peter Parker, tries to teach Miles Morales about this great responsibility that he has. And Miles doesn't really want it. Again, another hero's journey trope where it's like this average kid becomes like some hero. But something I really liked about this movie, it's the animation was incredible. It was animated like the comic books, and something that's like this really like kind of very specific thing. But basically, movies used to be animated 12 pictures per frame, and now in more advanced technology they're animated 24 pictures per frame to make it look more smooth. But when they show Miles Morales practicing to be Spider-Man, they animate him in 12 pictures per frame to make it look choppier, to make him look less balanced, I guess. But everything else around him, the background, the older Spider-Man, Peter Parker, who's been Spider-Man for so long, is in 24 pictures per frame. So he looks smoother, he looks more natural, which is just like this little detail that like I've always loved about this movie. And this movie kind of, again, has the basic themes of every superhero movie of growth and family and hard work and friendship. And of course, great power comes great responsibility. And, you know, it's just a really good, heartfelt movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The attention to detail in that movie is really next level. They put everything there for a specific reason, a specific purpose. It's a really great movie. So I'd say the next movie we're going to talk about, changing pace again, is the Bee Movie from 2007. This movie actually turned out to be kind of a meme these past few years or so, but the movie itself really remains truly one of my favorites. So the movie follows this bee, Barry B. Benson, fresh out of college, who is not satisfied with his role in the beehive, where essentially all of the bees, they go to college and then they make honey for the hive. He doesn't like it, so he decides to leave the hive one day, and he meets a local florist named Vanessa. And I still can't even believe it. They have conversations, and that breaks one of the rules of beedom. And through his friendship with Vanessa, he discovers that humans are actually taking the honey that bees are making and selling it and eating it in mass, taking it all away from them. So Barry files a class action lawsuit against the humans to take back the honey. They win the lawsuit, surprisingly. They go to court and everything. But then Barry realizes that bees need to pollinate. They need to make honey, or else the entire ecosystem can't survive. So they see everything kind of deteriorating, the flora and fauna of New York City kind of going downhill. Everything's gray and dark. And so the conclusion of the movie is Barry realizing and teaming up with the rest of the bees from his beehive to repollinate the world. So it's a really great movie. It kind of, you follow Barry trying to find a sense of belonging in the world. And it also touches on how important bees are to the ecosystem. So, and it's funny. What can you ask for more,
So the thing about that movie that always creeped me out is that like they kind of made like a weird relationship between the bee and the florist Vanessa.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird at first, but I guess when you think about it and you think about like the importance of bees in the ecosystem, you can kind of be like, oh, humans and bees can be friends. Like we don't have to be scared of bees. They're important. But at the same time, it is kind of creepy how they made
it is weird. Yeah.
An insect or a bug, like.
Yeah, can you imagine your like best friend being a bee? I can't.
It's kind of a little weird.
Yeah,
but I guess they had the intentions.
Exactly. And the funniest part of this movie is that Vanessa has a boyfriend and he's jealous of the bee.
Yeah. A little strange, but I understand the intentions that were there. So next, we're kind of going to do this one together. We have The Princess and the Frog, which in my opinion is like one of my favorite Disney princess movies of all time. But honestly, the movie is about Tiana, but instead of our classic Princess and the Frog, she's a princess, she kisses the frog, he becomes a prince again. Instead, she's not a princess. This movie was kind of stated to be like a princess movie for people who didn't really want princesses, in their movie. And instead of Tiana being the princess who kisses the frog in the end, she's kind of this like very ambitious woman in New Orleans who wants her own restaurant. She wants to live her life by herself, not by herself, but happy. And she wants this restaurant and she wants to cook and open this beautiful restaurant. And the prince actually is the frog. The frog is the prince, right? So I honestly just love this movie, and the music in it is incredible. Like I think it's one of my favorite Disney movies, my favorite music of all Disney movies, I would say, right?
Yeah, no, I would have to agree. I mean, I would say the villain of the movie, Dr. Facilier, I think his villain song is hands down my absolute favorite villain song in Disney history. It's incredible.
Honestly, that villain used to creep me out so much. Like, he's a
little scary. He is. He did a really nice job with it. I will say that some of the creators of the movie, they did say that one of the major themes throughout this movie is food bringing people together from all walks of life. And that the protagonists in this film actually learn from one another to become the best version of themselves, just better people through knowing each other. I really like this movie a lot. I have nothing negative to say.
At all.
I will add, though, actually in Disney World in Florida, in Orlando, they are actually redoing Splash Mountain to be Princess and the Frog themed. And I, for one, cannot wait.
That's going to be amazing.
It will be.
So good, yeah. Especially because that music when you're dropping.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's so freaky. It always would freak me out. But if they add the music from that movie, I'll feel so much more calm. Like I'll dance a little. Like it's so good.
Exactly. Absolutely something to look forward to. I can't wait.
For sure.
Well, that's pretty much it. We highlighted our individual, 4 favorites and then one kind of co-favorite movie to watch on Netflix right now, kids, family friendly. Thanks for tuning in to our first ever show. I appreciate anyone who's stuck it through with us. Let us know what you think. If you agree, disagree, if you have any movies you think we should have highlighted. let us know. We'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're going to be talking about the documentary movie on Netflix, 13th.